Well, thank you for making it to the class today, everyone. Welcome to Skip the Salt, Savor the Flavor, presented by me, Jaden Barnett.
Hi, Jaden.
So, this is going to be a lesson basically on how to choose flavorful, low-sodium ingredients and recipes that support our heart health. The four things we're going to be going over today is what is sodium, why is a high-sodium diet bad for our health, how to identify high-sodium foods versus low-sodium foods, and at the end we'll be going over some easy, fun, and flavorful recipes and snack ideas. So, first, what is sodium? Sodium is a mineral that is found in table salt, and we do need some for our bodies to properly function. Some of sodium's functions include fluid balance, which keeps our bodies hydrated, muscle and nerve function, and keeping our blood pressure from dropping dangerously low. So some foods that are high in sodium include chips, popcorn, pretzels, pizza, deli meat, and ramen, just to name a few. So what's the problem with sodium? Well, since our bodies only really just need a little bit to survive on, it means we can go over very easily. And sodium is found in pretty much everywhere in the modern diet and a lot of processed and prepackaged foods. So it's really, really easy to eat too much. All right, so I have a question for you. What happens to our bodies when we eat too much sodium too often?
I think that we're overloaded with it, but I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Has something to do with blood.
Oh, blood. Mm-hmm. Probably delivering oxygen to the arteries or something.
Not quite.
No.
It causes high blood pressure.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, how much sodium we should be eating in a day? The USDA recommends 2,300 milligrams of sodium at most per day. So either that or less. So what does 2,300 milligrams look like, right? None of us know that. Oh. That is equivalent to just 1 teaspoon of salt per day. Not very much, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's not very much, I know. So it's important that you can kind of visualize that and get that into your head when you're eating a meal. Mm-hmm. So, why is a high sodium diet bad for our health really? High sodium foods raise our blood pressure, and when our blood pressure is raised, it means the heart is being overexerted, and it's putting a lot of pressure on our arteries, veins, and the heart itself. Consistently high blood pressure is referred to as hypertension. Now, when the heart, arteries, and veins are working too hard for too long, that's chronic hypertension, and they will receive damage from being under all that pressure. And that damage can lead to things such as heart attack, stroke, heart failure, and kidney diseases. So, living with hypertension can be difficult. You may have to limit or completely eliminate the foods that you regularly enjoy from your diet. People with hypertension who may have experienced a stroke or heart attack in the past find it difficult to sort of get through daily activities such as doing the laundry, driving, cooking, or even simply brushing your teeth. So, hypertension is a chronic illness, which means it can lead to increased prescriptions, increased hospital stays, and medical bills, which can all become very expensive in the long run. So prevention is key. But for those already living with hypertension, it's really important to remember that it's never too late to turn things around and improve your condition. There are many ways we can improve our blood pressure and get it to a safe level, safely and effectively. So, you can take your prescribed medications if instructed by a doctor, but for those who are prescribed and those who aren't, it's important that we're still making lifestyle changes either way. So, some lifestyle changes include exercise, eating a balanced diet, and having good sleep, which are all three very important things when it comes to blood pressure. Now we're going to be going over how to identify high versus low sodium foods. So, the diet is what we refer to as a modifiable risk factor. So what a modifiable risk factor basically means is that it is something that we can change within our lifestyle that is either going to increase or decrease our risk of developing a certain condition or disease. So, a high sodium diet can increase your risk of high blood pressure, but you can minimize that risk by eating a lower sodium diet. So it's modifiable. Raise your hand if you read the nutrition label before eating something or putting it in the shopping cart. You do? Okay, awesome, great. All right. So, the anatomy of a food label is really important. First, we're going to want to look at the serving size. What the serving size is basically the recommended portion of food that you should be eating based on a 2,000 calorie diet. It's not a strict guideline, but it's sort of the on average recommendation from the USDA. And when we see all these values on this nutrition label, they are all based on that serving size. So for example, 1.5 cups of this food is going to deliver 260 calories, 6 grams of fat, and so on and so on. The second thing we want to look at when looking at a nutrition label is the percent daily value. What the percent daily value basically means is what percentage, how much of that nutrient is delivering what percentage of food that is recommended for that day. So for example, when we're looking at sodium and it's saying 7%, that basically means this is fulfilling 7% of your daily recommended value of sodium. So remember, the daily recommended value of sodium is 1 teaspoon. One portion of this is going to fulfill 7% of that. So that's 7% of a teaspoon of salt in that one portion. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. So, what is high sodium and what is low sodium? Anything that is 5% or less of the daily recommended value is considered low sodium. So that's over here in the green. 1%, that's low. Anything that is 20% your daily value or higher for sodium is going to be considered high sodium. So here we have 30%. That's a very high sodium food right there in the red. Right, so I do have a case here for you. This nutrition label is for a frozen lasagna, and we see the serving size is 1 cup, there's 280 calories, and we've got the sodium with a 37% daily value. So is this lasagna a high or a low sodium food?
Hi.
It's high, correct. Okay, so we're going to be going over some more low and high sodium foods that you may not have known prior to this. So some high sodium foods include butter, pickles, crackers, cheese, fries, and pasta sauce. And then some foods that are low in sodium can include yogurt, beans with no added salt, fresh vegetables and fruits, plain oats, and unsalted peanut butter or almond butters.
Unsalted.
Correct. Or no salt added or low salt. Just make sure to check the label. So I know a lot of those foods I listed can seem very bland and boring, could be lacking some flavor, but there's some fun, easy, and flavorful ways we can sort of spice up these snack ideas. So first we have a yogurt bowl. You can take some yogurt, preferably Greek because it's higher in protein, and then sprinkle that with plain oats and top with some fresh berries, maybe some chia seeds and a drizzle of honey. Those are all low sodium ingredients that is going to deliver a high antioxidant snack with high fiber, and it's good for the gut. With carrots, you can take some carrots, dip them in plain hummus, or shave them over salad with a low sodium dressing. It's got some complex carbs and some fiber in there. With the almond or peanut butter, you can sprinkle some cinnamon on top, and I like to dip it with apple slices and sort of eat that as a dip. We've got our protein, our healthy fats, and it's a great snack that'll keep you full for hours. You can take your no salt added canned beans and add it as a side to your dinner, your entree. Maybe if you're having some steak, you can have some no salt added beans, and rest assured knowing you're not adding any extra sodium to your meal that's probably already containing high sodium. And then you're gonna get some fiber in there as well. So there are some ways we can still season our food, just like with the ramen, that with non-salt based seasonings. Some of these seasonings and spices include onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, black pepper, lime and lemon juice, chili powder, crushed red pepper, and lemon pepper. But it is really important that we sort of differentiate when we're shopping what is salt-based and what isn't. So you can really sort of tell if something has salt in it because it'll say salt. So onion salt instead of onion powder, those are not the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so onion salt is the onion powder with salt in it. You want to just stick to the powder.
Okay.
They make garlic salt too. You want to stick to the garlic powder. And same with lemon pepper. I think there's a lemon salt or a lemon pepper salt out there. It's really just important to make sure you're just reading the label and making sure that it's not saying that there's any salt in there and you're just getting the herb. So there's also ways we can sort of distract our minds from the lack of a salty flavor that we're used to. A lot of these textures are typically like a crunchy or crisp. So to distract from the lack of salt, we can add crispy onions on top of something, or add some toasted nuts or seeds, or coat things in breadcrumbs to give it that nice satisfying crunch that we're seeking.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to attend this class. I hope you learned something about how we can sort of still enjoy foods that are low in sodium, we can still season our food, and we can use non-salt-based seasonings.
What do you know about iodine?
Oh, great question.
Some of the salt has iodine in it.
Yeah, so this was a question at the last location. Yes,
good or not?
so we do want iodine. The reason they fortify salt with iodine is to prevent thyroid gland issues, and with iodine deficiencies, we have a goiter. We develop a goiter, which is a chronic illness that we don't want. I think it's just harder for Americans to find iodine naturally in our diet, so they put it in the iodized salt so that we get enough of it when we eat salt.